be alright. Yes, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. We back 2 times a day. Did a show a couple hours ago, but right now we're back with Urban Therapy with Sun Show. And I'm glad to be here. And if y'all paired, then we're going to get this thing putting in the right gear. And I stare right in the screen, and y'all stare right back at me. Yo, we at this. See? Yo, how y'all feeling, man? Yo, it feels like I was just here. It feels like I just got out. I just got off the mic, just got out of the camera. But I said that we would be back at 1 p.m. and I'm a little tardy, but we here. And today on the Urban Therapy with Sun Show, we are talking about should step parents be able to discipline your kids? Should step parents be able to discipline your kids? Now, when I say discipline your kids, I'm not just talking about laying hands, but I'm definitely talking about laying hands or whatever form of discipline that you choose to use. But there's so much to unpack here. There's so much to consider when you think about disciplining your child means in the average person's mind. Because one person might be very progressive with the way that they view discipline, and some people may be very, very old school grassroots to the point where they think that the physical discipline is the only way to handle a situation when it comes to dealing with children. And when it comes to dealing with children, I'm under the impression that all children need to be handled with care, especially these kids nowadays. When we grew up in the 80s and definitely the 70s. Excuse me. I was being kind by saying the 80s because, well, the 80s babies, they have a certain toughness. I'm not going to take nothing away from them. The 80s babies definitely have a certain toughness to them. But they ain't as tough as those 70s babies. And the 70s babies might not be as tough as those 60s babies. And going all the way back to the 50s and 40s and 30s. When our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were born. But they were used to disciplining on a certain level because the education level, the information level, and the tolerance level was at a certain point. Whereas now, we have so many different avenues and so many realms of thought and so much information coming in that we can handle our situations and our problems that come along with the situations in a more amicable way, in a more agreeable way, in a less harsh way, in a way that may be amenable or may be beneficial to all. So that's what we're talking about today. A step parent being able to discipline your kids. Man, we got to have this conversation because this conversation is hot button. It goes around a lot on social media, and it's going to mean so many different things to so many different people. Because we're not talking about the biological parents. We're talking about transferring the responsibility of disciplining a child over to a non-custodial, non-blood related, non-biological parent, a separate entity, almost like contracting out, which it might be seen by some people in that way. With so many single parent households and women holding the household down, even men holding the household down, doing whatever they need to do in order to raise their babies and have them be well adjusted. And the way to get to that these days isn't like it used to be. When you look at shows like Good Times, What's Happening, almost any black show, and I'm not saying that all of the black shows back in the day were representative of black life, but they definitely had elements that we could relate to. And that's why we poised ourselves in front of that TV to watch those shows back in the day. They definitely were saying things and doing things that we could relate to. And one of those things was disciplining their children, physically disciplining their children. You can call it a whooping, you can call it a beating, you can call it whatever you want to. But it was something that most of us could relate to. It was a staple. I'm not saying that everybody's parent used that method and were as harsh. Because we all knew people that were talking about getting beat with extension cords and shoes and uh, all objects, objects that were not designed for discipline. Well, and there are a lot of people who believe that those whoopings saved the generation. You hear people from our generation say it all the time. If it wasn't for those ass whoopings, we would have been out here stealing cars. We would have been in jail. We would have probably been dead by now. All blah, blah, blah. Who knows? I don't know. Because not everybody's parents were that way. And we have to take certain things like abuse into consideration these days. We cannot have conversations about physically disciplining children or anyone else without having to talk about the possibility and probability of abuse, allegations, or maybe just simple truths. So that's what we're talking about today on the Urban Therapy with Son show. I'm so glad y'all rocking with me. Listen, y'all can call into the show today. The number to call is area code 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. That's the number to call instead of 319-527-6199. Yes. Y'all instead of 319-527-6199. Yeah, get on the line instead of 319-527-6199. Yeah, get your shine, baby. 319-527-6199. Please, somebody, please be kind and put the number in the comments. I can't do it because it won't let me physically enter comments into the chat. I guess they, I'm on camera, so I guess they figure I don't need chat. But please do me that solid. I'd appreciate it mucho, this much. We're going to have this conversation today. Let's get it popping. Urban Therapy with Son 752, and this is the Urban Therapy with Son show. We do this every single Saturday from 1 p.m. till around 2:30-ish. And the reason that we say 2:30-ish is because sometimes it gets so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a Saturday. And it is Saturday. This is the show where adults come out and play with other adults. We laugh, we cry, we argue, fuss, and fight. We go back and forth with each other, bust it up all crazy. We take an introspective look into our own personality to see the way that the universe projects us into this thing called the world, and try to figure out this thing called life. I am your host, Son 752, aka Omar with the rrrr. And if you can't say Omar with the rrrr, well, then you just say Omar with the R. Today, on this Saturday, February 3rd, we are talking about, should a step parent be able to discipline your child? Should a step parent or a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend be able to straighten your child out, to give them some real game, to let them know that they're not doing right, or to put them on the right path? Or should they be able to physically discipline them if things get out of hand and it comes down to that? That's what we're talking about today. What do y'all think? What are your initial thoughts? What comes to your mind when you think about this? What's going on, Care Bear? And what's going on, Aubrey? Thanks for coming through. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all coming through. What are y'all initial thoughts? What are your initial thoughts when you think about somebody who is not the father, somebody who is not the mother, putting their hands on your children, or talking to them sternly, like, yo, you can't do that, or you can't be doing that, or listen, there's going to be a problem if you keep that up. This can be a hard thing because with us having so many single parents raising their children, women raising their children alone, one house, one apartment, whatever, having to do all of the work of a man, of the mother and the father, and sometimes the grandparents, aunts and uncles, and all of that, having to do that all by yourself, having to infuse all of your ideas, all of your thoughts and your ways of life onto your children. And hopefully you are responsible in doing that. Not all Not all single parents are. Not all parents are, period. But hopefully we get experience as we get better and we educate ourselves and we learn more and we're able to do better. Hopefully. So check it out. When you have been a single parent, maybe you have one child. Maybe if you have one child, it has just been you and that child. You and that child. So y'all bond is close. Maybe you have 2 children. Maybe you have 3. Maybe you have 4. Maybe you have 5. As the numbers go up and it's only you raising them, the loyalty, the feeling of loyalty and the feeling of unity in that family unit is going to grow stronger and stronger and stronger. Especially if you're not dating, if you're not married, if you don't have anybody. So when you start dating or when you start introducing a love interest into your world, the children may not be ready for that. Like they may understand that mommy deserves to be happy too, or dad deserves to be happy too, but they've been getting all of your attention. They've been learning nobody except for you. They haven't had anybody to work with them or do for them, or they haven't had to deal with anybody except for the mom or the dad. Now, mom and dad, their attention is divided. Now, instead of the door being open, their bedroom door being open, maybe it's closed sometimes. Instead of us all being in the bed with mommy, maybe on certain days, mommy is in the bedroom by herself, but not by herself, not all by herself, just one-on-one type of thing. And your kids have to adjust to those kinds of things. You know how it is. Just like when you have multiple children, or let's say you have one child or 2 children, and then you have another child, and that new baby gets all of the attention. Well, the children, the pre-existing children, they have to get used to that. They have to, adjust to that. Like whereas I had all of my mom's attention or all of my dad's attention, now they got the new baby, and the new baby is getting all of the attention from the mom, the dad, the step parent, the living boyfriend or girlfriend, all of the aunts and uncles and grandparents and cousins and stuff. Everybody is doting over the new child. Children have to get adjusted to that. So imagine, and that's their little brother or that's their little baby or baby brother or sister that they probably embrace. But they're going to experience jealousy, envy, a little, uneasiness, uncomfortability, things like that. Now, imagine introducing a new man into the house or a new woman into the house. And it seems like mommy is listening to this man. Everything. She hanging on his every word. Before, she was the word. Now he's the word. And children rebel. They rebel. They rebel. What y'all talking about? Project Zero, what's going on? How you feeling? Thanks for coming on through. Care Bear says, this is a touchy subject because the subject of discipline is a slippery slope. 100%. 100% it is. It's definitely a slippery slope. But it's something that we need to talk about. So let's talk about it. And once again, y'all can call in if you would like to have your voice heard. You want to call in, ask a question. First of all, there's no censorship on this show. You can say whatever you want. If you want to express it, you can get on the line and you can talk about it. So today we're talking about, should a step parent be able to physically, I'm not just going to say physically, should a step parent or a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend be able to discipline your children? Your children. Your children. You. Is that a good look? Make sure, hold on. Make sure that we clear here. Make sure we good and clear. Are we good and clear? Wait a minute. Let's see. Like when I cleaned off the screen, we got a little dark. Hold on. We're going to have to rock with that. Should have left it alone, right? It's all good. But like I said, y'all can call in 319-527-6199. We are talking about should a step parent or live-in boyfriend or girlfriend be able to discipline your children. Terry Hawkins from the D. Hold it down for the D every day, all day, 365, 12 months a year. 24, 52 weeks. What's going on, man? Good to see me some you. John Dalton. I don't know what you're talking about. John Dalton. Hopefully somebody helps you out that you know what I mean? And good luck to you and your family. Carmen said, or is that Armin says, don't tell me what to do. Or what do. Okay. John Dalton also says, sorry for bothering you, brother. I'm just trying to get my daughter home. No, I'm not offended by that. It's all good. All right. I see that we have a caller on the line. Caller with the last numbers 4828. Welcome to the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. Thank you for holding. What's on your mind this afternoon? What's good?
Good afternoon. I told you I was going to call back last week, so I'm back.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you kept your word, and I'm glad that the word is good.
Definitely. This subject is crazy. I don't know. I'm a parent, and I'm really weird about who I bring around my children. You know, just because you don't know if I think you should talk to your children. I think you should talk to your children when you're dating anyway. Just to see where their mind and their hearts are as far as you moving on, or you bringing someone else into you guys' personal space. The whole living versus step parent thing. Once you're living together, you're living like parents anyway, and so you really have to be careful, not to bring the wrong person into your child's space. What if that person is an abuser? And it doesn't have to be sexual abuse. It could be mental or emotional abuse or physical abuse.
Absolutely.
Or what if that person is the type to let the child walk all over them, so that now the child is getting into stuff that they have no business getting into, because they know that step parent or that living boyfriend is not going to tell them, because they're trying to keep, stay on their good side.
Yeah. We have to always remember that children have brains, and we're all creatures of habit, and children will figure out things. Children will definitely figure out things as time goes on. They will figure out what they can get away with, what they can't get away with, what's good, what's going to get them treated, and what's going to get them disciplined or get them hurt. So as their curiosity makes them explore more things and try to figure out more things, here you are in the middle trying to do your best in order to stabilize the situation and raise your children in a way where they will do well in life and where they will remain protected and safe, because that's really the ultimate goal when it comes to raising children. You want your children to be safe. You don't want to have to worry about your children going out in the world where they have to go and you can't always be there with them. You want to make sure that they can go away from home and come back home. So you have to start the process of making sure that they know how to protect themselves and they know how to defend themselves from predators while you're in the home, as well as when they leave the home, so they'll be able to get back and be okay. And how can you do that when you have a predator in the home? So I think that a parent has to be a good judge of character when choosing a mate. Some of us really fall down on the job when it comes to that. So where do we go from there?
I completely agree. The reason, from what I can see, okay, people are so, these days, I notice a lot of, horror stories. And when you're watching the news, you hear this person's boyfriend did whatever to this child. This person's girlfriend did whatever to this child and the dog. And it's like, I'm saying to myself, people are not taking their time to really get to know the other person before they bring them into their child's space. You have to find out whether or not that person is worth being in your child's space before you even allow them the opportunity, or I shouldn't say opportunity, but the right to discipline your child.
Right.
And that says to me that you are more focused on what you want. You love and that person, and you want that person around all the time. You want to have sex with that person all the time, so you don't really care about all the other stuff that you should be caring about. So you're just inserting these new people into your child's space, and then unfortunately the worst is happening. And this is like all over the country. Yeah. Whatever, I don't know what country some of the listeners are in, but this is happening all over the place. And shame on you for being that selfish that you are putting harmful people in your child's, personal space.
Right.
What does that say about you?
It says a lot about you. And along with not potentially being a good judge of character, you also have to deal with the way that you may have been raised growing up and the value systems that came along with that. So if you grew up with parents who were very impatient, or who believe that you handle every parental situation with a threat, with yelling or screaming, or with physical violence. Like, if you make a mistake or if you do something on purpose, you're getting your ass whooped. So because a lot of people grew up that way and have accepted that way, then the likelihood that they're going to raise their children is high. The likelihood that they're going to raise their children the same way is high because they think that it worked. And you have certain people who co-sign that kind of stuff. Y'all remember, y'all know how Steve Harvey, he used to have that into his routine. Talking about, I beats my kids. I beats my kids. I mean, he used to talk about that like it was, what? That was his whole routine. If you look at the original Kings of Comedy, he talked about it there. I beats my kids. And every time I used to see him, he doubled down on that. I beats my kids. And that's what he said. I beats my kids. So I'm thinking, like, a lot of people laughed at it, and they probably laughed at it because they agreed with it. That was, he was always talking about old school music, old school ways of doing things. He probably felt like that was the way to go, and it was relatable to a lot of people, and evidently it was. But was it right? But just like I was saying, when you have accepted that way of doing things as being helpful or being the right thing, then you're going to teach that and you're going to do that the same way. Will it turn out the same way? I don't know. I don't even think so. With today's children, they're more delicate than we were when we were growing up. Children who grew up in the 80s, 70s, 60s, and before were tough. They had to be. We dealt with outright racism, not that soft racism like they have now. Like that's racism nowadays. People are acting shocked about it, like, oh my God. No, we knew it was something that we expected. So we had to know how to handle ourselves out there in the world. So it was a little different. Our mentality was a little different. Our expectations was a lot different. we say that today's children are very entitled. They have this sense of entitlement, and they do, but they got it from us, coddling them, so to speak. And I'm only saying coddling them for lack of a better term. But what I'm saying is I think we were so mentally scarred from the things that we had to grow up with and the things that we had to endure, that we wanted to protect our children from not having to go through those things. And on some fronts, we did well with that, but in many ways, we didn't prepare them for some of the harsh realities of this world. So when you have a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend, or a step parent that shares a different philosophy of raising children than you do, it'll show you. Yeah, it'll show you immediatally that you didn't vet very well, or that you didn't communicate very well. And it's not too late. I mean, after all, y'all still together, but now you have to figure out what's the best plan of attack here. And I say attack, not saying I'm not. Let's say plan of action. Let's say that, because sometimes people take things literally. Carmen Evans, shout out to you, Carmen Evans, and also Andrew Paulak. And also my man Ashton J. Crazy from last night. I appreciate you coming through. Andrew Paulak says, "Why are you gay?" I'm not. And this is not a rainbow. This is not a rainbow show. It's multicolored, but this is not a rainbow. No, we're not doing that. I have children. I like women. A lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not doing that. So don't I don't, the LGBTQ, they ain't taking over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wear what the fuck I want to wear. This is a nice sweatshirt. Look, it's fly. I think it's fly. You know what I'm saying? But no, we ain't doing it. We not doing that. Look, gay people, they have their platform. This is anyway, we're talking about should you allow a step parent to discipline your kids? Like, if you, let's say it's early, it's kind of early in your relationship, but not necessarily early. Like, I'm not saying that you just met the person, but maybe y'all have been together for 6 months to a year, or maybe a little more, and maybe you see your man or your woman, get a little loud or get a little short, a little frustrated with your child. Sometimes some children are very energetic. You may have a child who's autistic, or or is a little bit hyper, ADHD, that type of shit. And they have to be dealt with in a certain type of way. And yelling and screaming at them ain't going to work. And you might notice your partner get a little short, get a little frustrated, and they might have a reason to. You know what I'm saying? Let's say your kid is a little bit out of pocket because you never really disciplined them or slowed them down or whatever, and they took like a Matchbox or Hot Wheels car and threw it at you. Man, gave him a hickey. Look.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, shit.
Oh my god.
Man.
Trigger alert.
Shit happens. He done clocked you.
I'm gonna tell you something. Listen. So I'm a mom and a stepmom. To me, it doesn't end just because my marriage ended. But, I'm a mom and a stepmom. And I remember when my husband's two oldest sons were little. Oh my gosh. The second oldest, this boy, he jumped from the kitchen counter island, the counter on a kitchen island, to the damn end table, onto the couch, to the other end table, onto the chair, and he did this in a full circle, like it was like a course, an obstacle course, and I could tell that he was doing it to see what my response was going to be. And at first, I'm just going to let you know, on the inside, I was like, this Mickey Ficky is crazy. On the outside, I said, hold on. Let me get my stopwatch. We're going to see how fast you can do this and what your best time is. I had to make a decision. Do I snatch Shorty down and be like, what's wrong with you, babe? Come on, let's go do timeout. No. Instead, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to clean these footprints off of this this island anyway, and off of these tables. I'm gonna rock it out. And he did it until he was tired. We wrote down his best times. We had a good laugh. And then I asked him why he did it. And he said, I just wanted to make you angry because their father's last girlfriend, she was mean to them. And they wanted to see if I was mean too. And ever since that day, we didn't have any real problems. Sometimes kids are just testing you because of experiences that you may or may not know of because of whoever that parent was dating before. And that's what, in my case, that's what it turned out to be. But I'm gonna tell you, I definitely raised an eyebrow, like, what the hell? And ever since my divorce, I've experienced it from the other side, where there was a guy that I dated. We only dated a couple of months, and I was talking to him about something that one of my kids had done, and he had this explosive reaction. And we were on the phone. And what I can tell people is that when you are deciding to go out there and date, and you're thinking about bringing somebody into your home or marrying someone and moving on into this new relationship on the highest level, and you really need to take into account whether or not that person's thoughts on parenting and children align with yours and that child's other parent's ideals. Does the way that they think, does it align with how you guys said that you were going to raise your children? Because if it doesn't, they don't need to be in your space. And that's why that guy and I, who had that, he had that explosive response. I said, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Because if you're doing this over the phone, that means you would do that when you're in my child's space. He hadn't been in my child's space, my children's space.
Yeah.
So I was like, nope. The guy and I, we're still cool. We're friends at this point. He didn't meet my children until they were 18. So there's that.
It happens.
And only because we were in the same city. We were visiting the city that he lives in. But other than that, and it was brief. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, all right. Good. Have a good day. Nothing. I didn't want him to have any.
That was the drive-by
amount of time.
You had to do the drive-by meeting.
Yeah.
Like, this is not official. This ain't official. No names. No names.
And just wave. Beep, beep. Yeah. No. No way. No way. So I've experienced it from both sides.
It's not easy, because when you have good intentions and you're a good person, you've had experience with children, and you're a forward-thinking type of person, and you're not looking for a fight all the time, and you're not looking to hurt anybody's feelings and things like that. You can get caught up in being a decent person, and when you're a decent person dealing with a person that's not used to dealing with anybody who's decent, they're trying to make the bear come out of you all the time. They're constantly trying to make the bear come out of you because they don't know any better. Hold on. All right. The caller dropped off the line. And that's because of this call service that I have over here on Blog Talk. So we're going to get it back. And we still are allowing people to call in. 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. Hold on. This thing is slow, when it comes back, we'll be right back and everything will be all right. But yeah, when you are a decent person and you're dealing with somebody who doesn't understand decency, or you're dealing with children who don't understand decency, you're going to have a problem, because they're going to constantly give you a problem. They're going to make sure that you have a problem to deal with on a regular basis. It's like a lot of people go to therapy because of this kind of thing. You know, they're not used to dealing with people who are happy, who are decisive, who plan things out, who actually want things to work instead of, or should I say, work with you instead of working against you. You know, not everybody has dealt with people like that. If you grew up with parents that handled all of it.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
All right. If you hold on, y'all. Hold on. We got it. We here.
To start your show now.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
All righty. There we go. So we could take callers again now. Caller, if you're listening and you want to call back in, we're back. We're safe again. We good. We can take calls. I'm reading a comment by Ashton J. Crazy. He says, I got siblings that are young, and one threw a Hot Wheels car at me. Fun. Yo, you know how it go. Children have a lot of energy. They may not always understand that things hurt. You know, we watch cartoons and stuff like that. When you watch cartoons, nobody ever dies or anything or gets seriously hurt in a cartoon. And you know, nowadays with the cell phones, AI, you know, we're making our own movies, we're making our own films and stuff like that. So they live with a different reality than we did growing up. So, but they have to learn that things hurt. And you'd be like, ow! You might be dealing with a parent that don't even want you to yell if you get hurt. Like ow, like what, you know, your reflexes might make you say something like, yo man, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because they hit you with a car, or they did some old smart shit, crazy stuff, you know, and it caught you off guard. And you're like, yo, the fucking little, you're not necessarily mad at them, but they may have surprised you, and they may have actually hurt you. And you know what I'm saying? So, and if you're dealing with a parent that never disciplines their children, and I've met parents that don't, they just, you would almost think, I don't like to say that some children run their parents, but some do. And I don't know if it's the guilt of the parents for whatever reason, but for some reason, some parents raise their children with a little bit too much time out, when sometimes it might need to be more like time's up. Like, okay, I'm saying, listen, I've been working with you. Ain't no more time out. Time's up, little motherfucker. You know, you're about to get a good reason not to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, buddy.
life lesson coming. But there are different ways to do it. There are different ways to do it. For example, my dad, he didn't believe in whooping ass. Because he was a Green Beret in the Army, he learned pressure points and all kinds of crazy shit. You know how my dad used to slow me down as a young boy? I'm all hyped. Hey, Dad. You know, when I started going too far, he used to grab my stomach. You know, on a 6, 7, or 8-year-old, their body is small. You can grab their whole stomach, and my dad had nails, so he used to grab the stomach. He's grabbing your whole core. You know what I mean? Like a remote control. One thing about him doing that, there's no talking, there's no screaming, there's no yelling. Only thing you're thinking about is how can I get out of this fucking abdominal death grip he has me in. And he would gently loosen it and loosen it and loosen it. And it was like after he loosened it, I was so tired. It was like I'm thinking about what just happened to me. That's all. And now I'm chilling. You know what I mean? We can watch Wild World of Sports or whatever we want to do. I'm here. I'm injured. I'm on IR. You know what I'm saying? But no injury, and no bruises, no nothing, no yelling. He didn't do that. You know, it was all mental. Mm-hmm. But that was my biological dad. But my biological dad was a stepdad to other children. Now I'm not sure of how he disciplined them, or if he was asked to, or whatever the case is. But I know that so many children considered him to be a father that he had to have done something right and something effective. You know, and I know that he was very results oriented. So you wasn't just going to keep fucking up and fucking up and fucking up and without any repercussions. Something was going to get done. But he knew how to do things without being all super violent and all of that. Now, I from the mothers of those children's perspective, I don't know if he handled his situations with them that way. But the thing I've had to handle dealing with stepchildren or the children of women that I was messing around with or something like that. They've always loved me. But I found it easier to talk to them. It's a certain kind of energy. They knew that no matter what happened, I wasn't trying to hurt them. I was trying to build a bridge, not burn one down. But everybody isn't like that. And we have to take that into consideration. So we're caught somewhere between the mom or the dad or should I say the step parent or the live-in boyfriend or girlfriend. That may be the only male or female or mom and dad figure that's around. We have so many children that don't have fathers. Some aren't being raised by their mothers. Situations, whether it's drugs, whether it's jail, whether it's absenteeism, whatever the case is, we have a lot of single parents out there. And when another man or woman fills in that void of the missing parent, they may not always be welcome with open arms, because a change has come, and not everybody deals with change very well. So you might have to deal with, well, who is he coming in here, just because he brought a new TV in here and maybe a game system, he think he running shit. I'm like, I don't know. 75-inch OLED TV and a PS5 should be good for something. I should at least have some say so in this whole situation.
We smacked something.
Yeah, listen, y'all was watching TV on the Trinitine tube before I came through.
Well, I'm gonna say this: the short answer to your question, to the question of the show, is let me just make sure I have it right. The question is, should they have the right to discipline? Mm-hmm. Is that right? Should the step parent be allowed to discipline the child or live-in significant other?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, that's the short answer.
Okay.
But the short answer still has something attached to it, and it's something that I mentioned earlier. Yes, they should be able to discipline them to a degree, and with an understanding between the other parents,
Right.
the birth parents.
Right. Right.
It's not like, you know, hey, yeah, you have the right to come in there and put elbows and necks. No, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's discipline within these parameters. This is what we're comfortable with.
Right.
So, but yes.
Ashton J Crazy asked, so how do you think is the best way to discipline a child? I'm glad you asked that, because well, he's asking either you or I, you know, you if you want to answer that, you can do it, and then I'll come behind you. How you want to do it?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. For me, I think the best way to I think there are degrees to disciplining a child. My ex-husband and I, we believed in talking to our children, teaching our children reasoning, because we did not want them to comply out of just submission because of fear of physical hurt and physical pain.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted them to be able to think their way through these situations. We wanted them to be able to think their way through right and wrong. Now, unfortunately, but fortunately, we have some very spirited children. Some of the children are spirited. So you had to kind of like grab them by the back of the shirt and be like, sit down. Mm-hmm. So there's like, okay, I'm talking to you. I've talked to you. This is the third time I'm talking to you. All right, go on timeout. Oh, you're not going to be still on timeout? All right, now we're going to have to take something that you like away. You know, now you're upset about that. Now you're throwing a whole fit. Did you just break my window? Oh, that's what we're doing? Okay, no problem. Eat your food. Go upstairs now. So then it's like the Greek. So we're taking more stuff away. And then at the same time, we're still having a conversation with them about why it's escalating the way it is, mm-hmm. and what they can do to stop it from escalating.
Okay.
You know, all that under the guise of reasoning. Now, have my children ever had to get a spanking? Yes, but it's literally a handful of times. Throughout their entire lives. Mm-hmm. And still, you know, there are two of my kids that are like, oh my gosh, this was the worst time of my life. These 5 times I got popped on the butt, you know, with a couple of fingers pop, you know, something like that. But we just, for me, I did not want a spanking to be the first response. I don't think a spanking should be the first response unless it's like it would have to be an extreme circumstance. Like, did you just try to, you know, physically puncture your brother? is that blood that I see? You put your brother's shoulder. Now I gotta put you in a hole to stop you from harming yourself or somebody else. No, I'm not talking about extreme circumstances like that. I don't think that beating your child should be the first response.
Okay. And I agree with that. I agree that a lot of patience needs to be exercised before you do anything. And it's not always easy to do that. Like an example, like if you feel like a child is trying to physically hurt you, you may have to block something or whatever. And, you know, your reflexes may make you do something that you didn't really think was a good idea. So there needs to be a lot of mental work done before you even encounter these situations. Like if I'm dealing with a child that I know isn't mine, even when I'm dealing with a child that is mine, you have to consider that every day they are learning new things. They're experiencing new things, and they're going to try some things. They're going to find out what works for them and what doesn't work. And you may have to factor the way that you react into that equation. So, the best way I think there is to discipline a child is to do your prerequisite work. You have to go in and make sure that you are prepared for whatever could happen. So you have to decide that if by chance this happens, what will I do? Or what would I do? You can't go in and say, thinking that, oh, ain't nothing gonna happen, everything gonna be cool. And you may think like, oh, this woman is a good mom. She holds it down. She makes sure that her kids are straight and all of that. You may think that until you see a different reality or example to the contrary. So I think the best way to discipline a child is to get to know who that child is. Get to know what their capabilities are. Get to know yourself and get to know them. Talk to them. Even before it comes to a point where you have to discipline them, try to talk to them beforehand. Find out what their interests are. Find out what they like to do. If they like video games, find out what kind of games they like or are allowed to play, or what kind of books they read, or what kind of activities they like to involve themselves in. Are they the type of children that like to be around other children or a lot of people, or are they a little solitude or are they solitary is what I meant to say, not solitude. Solitary. Do they like to be by themselves a lot? Are they a little reclusive? Or are they the type that slinks off by themselves and just thinks and gazes at the stars and figures out things on their own, and then maybe comes around people that they are familiar with or comfortable around later? So you kind of have to know. You can't take a cookie cutter approach. Like, I whoop ass, I whoop everybody's ass. Or I don't hit nobody. You know what I'm saying? You have to kind of take.
I'm sorry.
Listen, man.
Yo, my mom was like that.
Cause we grew up
like that. Yeah. She's like, don't leave the kid for me because I whoop ass. I'm like, oh my God. And
we grew up in an era. Listen, we grew up in an era where it was popular for one child to get an ass whooping and everybody else got it. It was teamwork. You know what I mean? Teamwork didn't necessarily make the dream work, but it may have got the dishes washed and the floor swept and listen. As much as we may praise the old school, they didn't do everything right. But it worked out in the end, because a lot of the old school parents, even though it may not have been on display the way we think it should have been on display at certain times, they often tempered their discipline with affection and sometimes an explanation and understanding, some love. If you're going to do something that hurts somebody, you're going to have to try to balance that with something that helps somebody. There's nothing worse than getting an ass whooping for something you don't even know why. And it ain't funny. It ain't funny, because now you start treading on what abuse is. I mean, you don't want to do that. Oh, this damn microphone went out again. Well, Blog Talk. We gonna be right back at it, y'all. We gonna be right back at it. We right back at it. But yeah, you don't want to get into what looks, feels, and tastes like abuse. And we can't have this conversation about discipline without talking about abuse. Because a lot of people grew up in abusive situations and they accepted those abusive situations and they continue those abusive situations. It's not just like before. It may not have been talked about in that way. And maybe even now it's not talked about in a way that it needs to be talked about, or it's not addressed on the level that it needs to be addressed like it wasn't before. But you have to make sure that the person that you're dealing with, whether it's a step parent or whether it's a living boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe even not a living boyfriend or girlfriend, this is just somebody that you're in a serious relationship with. And
welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Today's kids will tell on you. They ain't playing. They go to they're taught.
Start your show now.
It appears that the host has already dialed into this show. Only one host is allowed per show. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
What are we talking about? We're gonna try this again. One more again. Hold on. Sorry for the technical difficulty. Oh, by the way, make sure y'all hit the like button, y'all. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do me that little solid. Hit up that like button.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Smash the like button. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel. Ashton J. Crazy says, I had a stepfather.
Start your show now.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Here we go. Okay. Caller, can you hear us? All right. So, all right, caller, I need you to hang up and call back in because I guess it has to reconnect. So if you could do that, I appreciate it. All right. Ashton J. Crazy says, I had a stepfather who was really abusive. And at the time, I didn't even know since that was what I grew up with. I've seen that from other people, too. Really sad. Yeah, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. And that's one of the things about us old schoolers that I don't like because we praised all of that ass whooping shit and all. Nah. This ain't an episode of Good Times or whatever. You can't handle everything that way. And today's children will have child protective services coming through.
Right on that behind.
Right? And you find yourself having to fight to get your kids back, and you ain't want to do nothing but love your kids. Well, if you love, you're going to have to show that love. But you're also going to have to show some decent temperament. Children, hey, listen, they say you catch more bees with honey than you do with a fly swatter. Well, sometimes you might have to use the fly swatter. But that's if you don't want the honey from the bee. And it's funny because I've never used a fly swatter for a bee before. But nobody likes flies. But anyway, although even though all of our parents may have not always treated us in the best way, we still saw the good in them. And as a parent, you have to see the good in your child too. And you have to make sure that if you're dealing with somebody who is the non-biological parent of your child, that they see the good in your children too. Now, unfortunately, an elephant in the room is that you may not have picked a good parent, a good biological parent. You had a baby by a bum, a drug addict, a jailbird, a stalker. That's who you had the baby by. So you already know your judgment ain't all that. Now you have to try to find a way to make it right. It has to get right. And the only way you can make it right is you have to educate yourself so you can make a change in yourself. You have to see a problem before you can go about solving one. You can't think that you're just going to beat the problem away. That's what the old school parents did. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They just beat. Well, anybody who has raised pets understands that animals don't understand English. So a dog may shit on your floor and you took the dog's nose and put it in there and whooped the dog's ass and you think that the dog understands. Well, what you don't understand is that you just showed that dog what the smell of shit is and then whooped the dog's ass and he's not making that connection at all. The dog can smell. He doesn't know that he's not supposed to do that. What you were supposed to do is take the dog out of the house so it can shit consistently, so it knows that, oh, when it's time to shit, we go outside. They catch on to that. But if you don't know, you won't teach it that way. Same way as if you discipline without an explanation, you may not get the desired results. And you sure may not get the love. Emily Dunlap in the house. We're about to get on up out of here. Listen, Carla, I appreciate you calling in. I really do. This was a good conversation.
No problem.
It was some. I hope that we've made some headway as far as this conversation was concerned, and I hope that we've done this topic some justice. And the ultimate goal is for our children to be raised protectively, well-adjusted, with good education, and with a chance to succeed and raise their own families with the same goal of love, affection, and unity that we were looking for in the way that we raised our children. So, Carla, good stuff. Topic. Oh, thank you.
Great topic. Always a pleasure. I'll call back in next week.
Yay! No, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you mucho. Look forward to it next time.
No problem.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
All right.
Be safe.
Good conversation there. Appreciate it mucho. On the Blog Talk side, Snowman James, thanks for coming through. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. We're going to do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious February 2nd. See, we did the shout outs for today a few hours ago. I guess you could say last night, but it was like 4:00 in the morning. But anyway, we're going to do the shout outs that we missed. And these are from February 2nd. So let's get it popping. Number one out the box. Wait, hold on. I ain't doing my intro right. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious February 2nd, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special because they are special because they are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They get number one out the box. Khadijah Baker turning 52 years old today, and Dante Ben turning 40 years old today, and he's raising money for Eagles Autism Challenge Incorporated, and also J5 Ever turning 54 years old today. You know why? Because she's a 1970 baby, with the blonde, with the crippled, the crazy. And also Monique Whittington. Happy birthday to you, Monique. And she's a go-getter. And also Esther Maria Campusano. Happy birthday to you. And our girl, Cal Chamberlain, mi favorita. Happy birthday to you, Ma. I wish you was here, but I hope you're out there somewhere, still birthdaying and turning up hard. Do the damn thing. And last but not least, Queen Shun, so in love with me, turning 46 years old today. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all, and I hope that the day finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious February 2nd, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up, but don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out, rock on and do the damn, rock out, rock on and do the damn thing, you do the thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings, you do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man, listen and understand. Disciplining your children might be a challenge for you, but when you put that challenge in the hands of somebody who may not have their best interests at heart because you haven't vetted them correctly, because they're a step parent, or because they are a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend, and you really only chose them for physical reasons, I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes you might hook up with somebody and be with somebody for a long time. I call it orgasmic unity. Orgasmic unity. He don't treat me right. She don't do me right, but she be having me like, all night. She don't treat me right or talk to me right, but she got me all night. She got me looking like I'm having a seizure. It's nothing but pleasure. I can't measure. Had me feeling good. My toes are curling. Yeah, she's whacking. She treats me bad, but she's my world. And when we get in the bed, there's nothing more that needs to be said. She sexes me down until I'm dead. Well, that's not the type of person you should choose to be around your kids. I mean, they're your babies. You have to put them in the best position to be able to succeed out here. And the worst thing that could ever happen to you is your kids grow up and they start bringing up all of the bad shit that you did before because of your badass decisions. You was involved in an orgasmic unified union. When daddy come, he'll let anybody in. It's like being drunk. Anyway, make sure that you are checking the IDs in the history, criminal history, credit history, and all of that with the person that you are involved with. If you're going to have them around your children, you should do it just for yourself. But if you're going to protect yourself, you should even double down or triple down on protecting your children. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would appreciate it mucho. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another Urban Therapy with Sun show. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to the show as much as I enjoyed broadcasting it. Thanks to the caller who called in. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Ashton J. Crazy says, for real, check one of my family members' criminal records and one with sexual assault. Oh, no. Oh, hell no. No good. No good. Well, we have to, protect against that. All right, y'all. So listen, Blog Talk, we gonna get you out of here. Yeah. For my YouTubers, you know just how we do, but thanks for coming on through. See you on the other side, my boobas. 1, 2, on the other side, my boobas. 3, 4. See you out the door, my boobas. All right, y'all. Let's go.